We are live 364 days a year. What are we doing here?
If Dom turns at SummerSlam, I'm shaving my moustache off. I told you, if that happens, it's going. My lip is cold because of a stupid bet that I made with YouTube.
Oh, good.
Wrestle's better than Daniel Bryan. Bryan Daniels. Better than Okada.
How do you not get sushi after Monday Night Raw?
Welcome to Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, a show where a rotating cast of wrestling fans from around the world come and share and debate their opinions, with live comments from all of you shown throughout, as after all, fans are what makes wrestling so special. So sit back, grab a beverage and enjoy the show. Good evening from Swansea, South Wales, wrestling fans. We are only 5 days away from the retirement of John Cena, and today it is a Mailbag Monday, which means we are going to be answering some of the questions which you guys have sent in to us. So it is going to be a fun show, and of course, there's some John Cena related ones. But before we get into them, we need to get into the panel, and let's kick things off with Clark Taylor. How are you, Clark?
Happy Monday, everybody. I'm stoked to be here. We've got mail. We just got a letter. Shout out Blues Clues. Shout out Number One Superfly in the comments. And everybody, you know I love Mailbag Monday. It's one of my favorite days of the week. And I'm fired up to be here as always. We got some great questions today, too. I'm stoked about that. Thanks for everybody that contributed.
Absolutely, we do have some good ones, and it's National Brownie Day, according to Zach Minger. That is very interesting. Numero One Superfly says, mail time, it's mail time in honor of Blues Clues. And also joining us today, we have Aunt Yu. How are you, Aunt?
Man, what's going on, everybody? It has been a while since I've been on the show on a Monday. So I am glad to be here. I'm with the best group that I could possibly ask to be with Ben and Clark. So yeah, man, let's get into these questions and let's have fun on a Monday.
Absolutely. We are guaranteed to have a fun show today. So without further ado, let's get into the questions. And the first question is sent in to us by Kay the Great. And we're going to start off nice and easy today. A nice and easy question to warm us up, right? Is John Cena the greatest of all time? This might just be the hardest question, in fact, of all the questions in the entirety of questions, because what is the greatest of all time? What does that phrase mean? Is it even a real thing? Is one person truly the greatest of all time? How can you measure it? Clark, I'm a bit stuck on this one.
I am too. And honestly, like you said, it's one of the most difficult questions you could possibly be asked, because the answer is, even if he's not number one, he's probably in the top 5 or 10, at worst top 10, at realistically top 5 for sure. If we're going off statistics, just purely resume, then okay, that's hard to deny. He did have to lose that title though, 16 times to win it 17. Let's do remember that. The way that I quantify the greatest of all time is on impact in the ring, and ability and all of that, all encompassing. I've always believed it's Shawn Michaels. His resume may not add up like that necessarily. The guy also missed 4 years of his prime with a back injury. That was debilitating. He basically had 2 Hall of Fame careers. I think as far as an all-around professional wrestler, the answer is Shawn Michaels, and that's just what I've always believed in my eyes, is Shawn Michaels is the best to ever do it. But I understand if you're going to put Cena in that spot, longevity must be a major factor in the scale you're using to rate the wrestlers, right? That's where you would also have somebody like a Flair on that list. Wrestlers that had lasted longer. There are people that I would assume would argue Stone Cold Steve Austin. Based on longevity, he's in the same category as Shawn Michaels practically. If you're going to compare him to somebody like a Flair or a Cena. So really, I think it comes down to, at the end of the day, how much you factor in the length of career in relation to just impact during the time that they did have between the ropes. And that's the way that I would quantify it.
I mean, that's the thing. You can look at it from so many different angles. And if we're going to look at it from a kayfabe perspective, the 17-time world champ perspective, I'm sorry, to your point, Clark, I don't think that makes him the greatest of all time. because he dropped those championships very fast every time. And if we are going to talk about who the GOAT is in kayfabe, I mean, I do think it's got to be Bruno Sammartino. I think that has to be the answer when it comes to a kayfabe answer. But, of course, wrestling, it isn't kayfabe. If we talk about it outside of that, we talk about ability, all of that, then there is the argument you can make for a Shawn Michaels. There's an argument you can make for a Ric Flair. There's so many different ones you can make. But then if you want to look at it from a business perspective, you could say Hulk Hogan, because he did draw the most money and he did change the entire future of professional wrestling. So again, Hulk Hogan, you can't ignore him. And I want to get your thoughts.
Man, so I'm going to speak to you guys as a older fan of wrestling, and more analytical on this. I feel like this question is a loaded question, and it's you're going to get generational answers, right? So, like my grandparents would probably sit back and say Bruno Sammartino is the greatest of all time. My parents would probably say Hulk Hogan. I myself, looking at it from that standpoint, Ric Flair, Sting, Hogan, all of those guys were so influential. So, I mean, I think you can ask this to 100 different people and get 50 different answers. I think John Cena, for like kids my son age, for like 20-year-olds, kids that grew up in that coming off that attitude era into the PG era, will definitely say John Cena's their GOAT. They watch John Cena do everything. My son is probably one of the biggest John Cena fans out here. He's 20 right now. So yeah, I think you can make an argument for anyone who was the draw of their time as being the GOAT.
I do think, Aunt you, that is a very good answer, but unfortunately, it is not the answer we are looking for, because none of us have actually really given that right now, because I am going to ask you a question. Is John Cena the GOAT? Yes or no? And if the answer is no, who is? I know this is not black and white, but I'm making it black and white. Clark, kick us off.
I mean, I said no out of the gates. It's Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels is the answer. I'll give you the double answer. I did say it out of the gates there. The answer is no.
I wanted to make sure you said it again.
He's in his top 5, and the answer is that Shawn Michaels is the greatest wrestler of all time, HBK.
Aren't you?
Yeah, man, no, John Cena is not the GOAT. As much as, his life didn't end well, and he had a bunch of troubles going on. Growing up, all I could think of was say my prayers, eat my vitamins, the yellow and red live forever. What are you going to do when Hulkamania won out on you? I may not agree with a lot of the stuff he did, but growing up, man, there was no one bigger. No one.
That is a great shout. Both of those are great shouts, but I do have to disagree with both of you, because ultimately I do think it's Kit Wilson. The guy right now is ending toxic masculinity. He's doing better work than anybody in the history of this business. I'm only joking. In all seriousness, I do think the greatest of all time is Ric Flair. I think in the ring, he innovated so much, and not only innovated, but specifically he perfected so much as well. And he introduced character, he obviously took a lot of influence from what's his name,
Gorgeous George.
Yes, Gorgeous George. Yeah. And Gorgeous George took a lot of inspiration from Ali, and also then in the UK somebody as well. Flipping that, my mind is off for today, guys. I'm usually good when I repeat that all the time. But Ric Flair to me, I think, is the greatest of all time. And also, he did it across so many promotions as well. And I think part of that was just the luck of his age and the generation which, he was entered into. But I do think Ric Flair now, it's crazy, because I think over the last 5 years or so, Ric Flair is almost being overlooked. Like, people aren't talking about him.
The other one I would add besides George is Nature Boy Buddy Rogers. Obviously, that's where he got the Nature Boy nickname from. So you can't mention Rick without him as well. I do think in recent years, I don't think the Ric Flair's like a second last match with the Jarretts, the one-off.
We're not counting that, are we?
No, we aren't. But my point is, I don't think that helped him in these GOAT conversations, Ben. I'm not trying to say, right? Like, that is the most recent history, and recency bias leaks into all kinds of these conversations all the time. There's no doubt about it, right? And I think that didn't help his case in certain scenarios, but he has to be in your top 5 in my eyes. You know, I
100%.
stick with my pick, but he's got to be in your top 5.
I mean, 100%. Go ahead, Ben.
I remembered the guy's name, and it was bothering me that I couldn't remember it, right? And the reason why it bothers me so much is the guy is from only like an hour and a half away from me, and that is Adrian Street.
Adrian Street,
and
yes.
He is somebody who inspired Hogan, he inspired Flair massively, and he also, he also learned a lot from, what's his name?
Gorgeous George.
Yeah, God, sorry guys, I'm off it today.
That was my grandmother's favorite wrestler, by the way. If you asked my grandmother, rest in peace, she would have told you Gorgeous George.
Oh, I mean, he's a hell of a shout, but Adrian Street is, in my opinion, I always say it about him, he's the most underrated wrestler of all time because people don't understand how much he introduced character to professional wrestling. He took what Gorgeous George was doing and did it on a bigger level that inspired so many specific wrestlers that created a knock-on effect. So while Adrian Street never got the flowers he deserved, his effect is felt to this day, and people don't talk about him enough. But that is a conversation for another day, and not one which I thought we were going to get into today. But what we are going to get into up next is the next question, and this one is submitted by Joey Zumaya, who says, who do you think should have been John Cena's final opponent? Now, I'll kick us off with this one because at the start of the year, I said it should not be Gunther unless they want to play it safe, because Gunther was the safe choice, he was the easy choice, he was the reliable choice, and that is why I don't hate the fact that it's him. I'm completely fine with it, I'm content with it, but to me, this should have created a younger star who needed it more, right? Gunther, I don't think needs it. He will benefit from it, but I don't think he needs it. The guy, in my opinion, who is ready for this opportunity, who needs it, is Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes, he had that interaction with John Cena in NXT. He is ready for that next move up. Carmelo Hayes would have been perfect, in my opinion. But Clark, what about you?
I've got kind of a wild take on this one because I've really been thinking about it a lot. We discussed it a bit yesterday, too. I think that it makes sense for Gunther where we're at right this second. Given the tournament, if this is a perfect world and a fantasy world where John Cena could have done more dates, whether it was Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, and we could have told a story and done all that, I would have flipped AJ Styles and Gunther and had the Gunther match when we had the AJ Styles match, and AJ Styles and the match that he had with John Cena would have been his final match, and I would have had no problem with him walking away with a victory in that style of a match, play the hits one last time. I think that in a perfect world is actually the best we could have done. I think the AJ match that we actually had should have been the finale, and we should have gotten all of this putting over the younger star, Dominic Mysterio, and maybe even putting over Gunther as well as Brock in this scenario that I've presented here. In hindsight is, of course, always 2020. But if you do that, then you have Gunther and Dom put over, and you still have the singular night dedicated to John Cena. I mean, the reality of the situation is we've seen a lot of various different retirement style matches. Obviously, Sting just won his. We watched The Undertaker defeat AJ Styles. In his final match, it would be another feather in AJ's cap to lose to a John Cena in his final match. I wouldn't dislike that at all if we're talking about stat padding, as it's been the theme of the early show for me. But in my eyes, that AJ match was the perfect final match. Play all of the hits, play that final concert, and then get out of there and give the speech. That would have been my choice. But you still have maybe the tournament and the Gunther match in a different context earlier in the year.
You know how much I like AJ Styles. He's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. No way should that have happened. AJ Styles is about to retire. That would not have benefited.
That's completely fine.
anything.
So was Shawn Michaels when he retired Ric Flair. So in history,
yeah, but there's different.
In history, can you name me one time where a really, really big time legend put over a young star and it mattered? Because don't say Kurt Angle, Baron Corbin, Ben. Name me one. Name me a good one. Off the top of your head, you got one?
Off the top of my head. I mean, I'm not the right person to ask about this, to be fair, either. But you are right in terms of Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels is one of the most famous ones. And that was
Taker and AJ.
Yeah.
Who
I
else you
mean,
got?
here's the thing, though, because there's a point here which Donnie makes, right? He said it's not Sam who came up with it. And he says that you don't pass the torch to a guy who's not already at the top. You pass it to someone who's ready to be the man. That's not Melo, it's Gunther. Here's the thing. John Cena has not held that torch for what?
10
8
years?
years now? 8
Yeah.
years? He passed it to Roman Reigns in 2017. So he has not held that torch for the longest time. So that's why I do think Cena could have passed it to somebody like Carmelo Hayes. And look, I know I've thrown around Obafemi as well as other names and Braun Breaker and all that. I can understand people say that, hey, they're not ready. Carmelo Hayes has proven that he is ready. He has been in WWE for 5-6 years now, and he has shown reliability. He has shown he constantly improves, and he has shown the ability to work with a little and do a lot with it. So I do think Carmelo Hayes could have done it and could have benefited from it a lot. Kay the Great says Dirty Dom. Fernando agrees. Gunther. Eddie Walker says LA Knight just to annoy Ben. Thank you very much. DCX Warlord says Mello hands down. And number one, of course, he said it all year that Sheamus would have been his perfect scenario so he could win that title again. I want Sheamus to win that IC title, but I think it would have overshadowed Cena's moment or made Sheamus's moment feel not as important if you did it in that match. But at you, I want to get your thoughts.
Yeah, man. So I have probably changed my answer on this 3 times. So my latest thought in magical booking of someone, I started thinking back to when Cena came in, and right, Cena wasn't the when they came out of that OVW group. You know, you had Batista, you had Randy, you had Cena, you had a bunch of great talent. You had Brock, and Cena was kind of like the middle lower guy out of that. So after this past Saturday and the return of Tony D'Angelo, I just started thinking, man, I really wish they had pushed the return of Tony D'Angelo earlier, because I like this new character that he has. You know, the Don is gone, and he looks vicious. And as such a decorated amateur wrestler, I feel like Tony D'Angelo can get over. Like, I mean, when he was talking as the Don, he was able to get over. I'm pretty sure he's going to be able to get this new character over quickly, just from the reaction and pop that he got when he returned. So I would love to have seen Cena wrestle Tony D'Angelo in this last match. I think it could have just been poetic in back.
I mean, that is a one which I have not heard at you. That shocks me, quite frankly. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I like Tony D. I think he's underrated. I'm excited he's back in NXT. I think he probably is ready for the main roster, although I do understand maybe they do want to change his character a bit first. I think he's nowhere near ready enough to retire John Cena. I think too much could go wrong in that match.
It could, but you can't look at it like that. I mean, Tony D'Angelo was the first person to beat Obafemi. They believe in him enough to have him take the NXT North American title off of at that point the Thanos. Like, Obafemi wasn't lose. No one thought Obafemi was going to lose that NXT
That's
championship. And it didn't matter that he had the family with him or anything like that. Tony D'Angelo went out there and put on 3 really, really good matches with Obafemi.
You're not wrong there at all, aren't you, to be fair? I mean, I still don't think he'd be ready, but I'd like to see it. And I'm sure we're going to talk about Tony D a little bit later on in the show. Donnie with a comment here saying, if Gunther were to main event WrestleMania last year, people would have groaned because he's not in the same league as Roman, Cody, Punk, etc. But he is about to be. That is a fair point. Fair enough, right? I get that point. I don't think he's ever going to be the guy in the company because I don't think he's going to have enough appeal outside of the company. I think it's a hard gimmick to make work to the masses, despite the fact, and people know this, I'm a huge Gunther guy. I was watching Gunther wrestle in person in 2016, right? I've been on the guy's hype train before anybody else. One of my favorite wrestlers in the world, super reliable. I think he will never be the guy. I think he's going to be somebody who puts over the guy. You disagree, aren't you?
I disagree. Just from the way they've booked him already. They believe he's the guy already. This man has 2 losses. on the main roster.
Of relevance.
Yeah, I think so.
He lost to Sammy and he lost to Jay.
Yeah.
Pinfall losses, yeah.
Yeah. I guess he tapped to Jay too.
Sorry, I meant like he lost by count out, I think, a couple of times. But yeah, you are right in terms of that. But even still, you can book someone like that, but that doesn't mean they're going to appeal to the mainstream. And I don't think his gimmick is something which is going to appeal to the masses. And again, that's coming from a Gunther fan. I just don't think he has that it factor when you talk about professional wrestling. Professional wrestling is larger than life. And Gunther, he's deliberately not that, because he's deliberately about the in-ring action, and therefore he is a rival to those over-the-top people who the fans get behind. It is very deliberate, and that's why it works so well. But for that reason as well, I don't ever think he's going to be the face of this industry.
This man made us care about Shorty G. He made us care about Chad Gable to the point to where we all wanted Chad Gable to beat him.
That's true.
And
that was a heck of a rivalry.
But does the mainstream, does the
What does the
casual
best
wrestling
team-
fan care about Shorty G because of Gunther?
Are we
No.
booking
Hardcore
to
fans
the
do.
mainstream though? Really, every day? Is that what we're doing?
No, you're not booking every day, but the face of the company is somebody who's got to draw to the mainstream, yes.
I hate this whole like.
And that
the
guy
face
is
of
going
the
to be
company is
Bron
such a
Breakker
cliche.
after Cody.
The face of the
After
company
Cody.
is such a cliche. I mean, who was the face of the company during the Rock Austin era? We could debate that the rest of the show if y'all'd like. Like, really? You know what I mean? Was it Brad or was it Sean right before that? You know, like I get, there's been certain times where you can name one person, but it is such an old, beating a dead horse cliche that somebody's got to be the face of the company. Somebody's got to be I hate the quarterback analogy. I hate all of that. It just bugs me to death.
But historically, it's been true.
If
It's
you
been
can build,
true in all but like two eras.
maybe there's arguments to be made. It's not true because you need the other side. If there's one
you
face of the
absolutely
company
do.
that's an
what I'm
unbeatable
saying.
demigod, they better be a heel. That's
what I'm saying about Gunther. That's what
yeah.
I'm saying the beauty of him is. But he's not going to be the guy. John Cena's not passing him the torch to be the guy because he ain't the guy, because that's not his role. He's not meant to be the guy. He did not create this gimmick to become the guy.
I don't even think John was in the position to pass any sort of torch. Like you said, it's been 8 years since he passed it to Roman, right? He can give you the rub, and that's great. And that's cool. And I could see a scenario where Gunther wins this match, but at the same time, I definitely don't think that it's one of those situations where this is the defining moment of Gunther's career. I mean,
there's
like
a comment
you
here. There's a comment here, and I'm going to cut you off real quick, Clark, because I've got to get to
fine.
this, because I want to give you time as well on this. Donnie says, it's a little odd to talk about Gunther's appeal to the mainstream and then talk about guys like Adam Page being worthy champions. First things first, Donnie, and you're the first person to say this. AEW is not WWE. AEW does not appeal to the masses in the way WWE do, and I think we can both agree that AEW at times should appeal to that casual audience a bit more than they do. But when you talk about what AEW is about, when you talk about their product, when you talk about the stories which they have been telling, there is no doubt that Hangman Adam Page is the face of that company. He is the guy to hold that title because they have been telling that story since day one, and he has been proving it since day one. I also, by the way, do think he does have some appeal, as I do think he holds himself well when he does do public appearances. Now, don't get me wrong, I still think, like I have always said, they need a guy who can do those mainstream appearances, and that's why I do think Kyle Fletcher is going to be that guy long term.
This is what I don't understand about like the Hangman Page dislike from a lot of people and stuff. Maybe you dislike the AEW product, maybe you dislike other things elsewhere, but the very hat that Aunt U's wearing right now, Virginia Tech, Hangman Page graduated from that university in 2.5 years with an education degree and is as good in interviews as anybody, is smart as anybody in the industry, and he's an awesome athlete. And he's also the right age. We talk about age and stuff all the time. I don't really understand the like Hangman Page dislike in general from a lot of people. And I'm not calling out Donnie specifically at all. Donnie, I know what he's saying when it comes to the Gunther Adam Page situation. That's not like just a complete shot at Hangman. I will say, I think Hangman gets slept on a little bit, not knowing his background and a little bit of the fog created by the fact that he's been at the top of AEW during a time where a lot of people were heavily critical of it. And I think that's the precipice of the criticism of Hangman. But I do absolutely think the guy can be the face of a company and can carry a company and can handle all of that responsibility because he's kind of proven it his whole life.
You are right there, and Donnie's saying that Gunther is absolutely going to be the top guy. I have no doubt he is probably going to be the top heel. I have no doubt he is going to be at the top of the card, right? I'm not denying that point for a second. I just don't think he's going to be the guy, because I don't think he's going to draw enough to be the guy, but he's going to help the other guys who do become the big draws to become the draws. That's what I do think he's going to do. He's a very necessary role, but I don't think he's going to be the guy. TJ Johnson in the chat, shout out to you. Fernando Zaya saying Hangman is the right champion for a company like AEW. DCX Warlord says Hangman was a teacher when he won the Ring of Honor Trios Championships. There's no doubt about that. But up next, we need to go to the next piece of mail, because the next one is from Jose99, who asks, who should dethrone Samoa Joe for his AEW World Championship? A great question, and I want a great answer from you, and you.
Well, I mean, since she just lost the belt, I think Mercedes Moné should come. Nah, I'm joking. I'm joking. No, man. Like when I think about this, and I think about how Joe has been used in the past, to put over, newer talent coming up. I really foresee someone like Swerve or like a Kyle Fletcher or maybe even a Takeshita coming and taking the title from Samoa Joe. In a perfect world, it'll be Swerve Strickland getting his title back. I did not like the way they took the title from Swerve with Daniel Bryan, only for him to lose it the next time he defended it. So I think the Swerve train was really, really hot, and they can pick it back up if they have him beat someone like a Samoa Joe. So that's who I think should dethrone Samoa Joe, is Swerve Strickland.
And I think that's a great shout at you. I truly do. And I think that's one which could well happen, because again, you got to ask yourself, why did they put the title on Samoa Joe? MJF, of course, has the title shot. I don't think they're going to do MJF versus Samoa Joe. So clearly at some point within the next few months, Samoa Joe is going to drop this title to somebody. And I mean, I guess there's Will Ospreay. He's the other name you can say. Swerve Strickland, to your point, though. I mean, there's limited options. There really are. But Clark, who would you say?
I mean, they won't do it. But if there was ever a time, I'd love it to be Eddie Kingston. Just let him have his moment in the sun. I mean, if there was ever just a time to just go for it. And Eddie deserves it. What he's become, virtually a cult hero in AEW amongst that fan base and everything since his debut. To me, if you're going to take the title off Hangman a little early, I think we all can agree on, and put it on Samoa Joe, as much as I would love to see Joe have a sustained long run, I don't know if that's necessarily in the cards. I would thoroughly enjoy Eddie winning the big one. And I know I see the comment from DCX Warlord. I know he was ROH champion, but it's different when you're carrying that AEW world title around your waist.
Yeah.
And even if that's a short reign and it's a transitional thing, I don't necessarily hate that either. It's not the end of the world for me. I would love right now, because we're going to run out of time at some point. It'll never happen for Eddie. It would be pretty darn incredible if they just give it a shot, just one time. I feel like Eddie's in his own way earned it, because he's definitely worked so hard, and with the health issues he had in previous years, all the injuries he worked around, he finally gets himself fixed. He's in as good a shape as we've seen him in basically since he's been in AEW.
Yeah.
Just give him the one shot. We don't need to do this over and over again. He's not going to be a main event player for the rest of his career or anything like that. But for it's the classic, you got to give people their flowers while they're still around, not after. I would love to see that for Eddie Kingston.
That is, look, I understand. I don't think they're going to do it. I'd love for Eddie to hold it at some point, but I don't think, unfortunately, it is going to happen. Donnie with a comment here saying nobody should dethrone him for an entire year. I disagree with that purely because we just came off a year-long heel title run. And I think AEW fans were very, very sick of it at the time. And I understand, I think once you come out of a really long title reign, I do think you should have multiple shorter ones before you go into a longer one. I know that's not what they've really done in WWE. They've gone Roman to Cody for a little bit of a long one, then Cena for 6 months, then Cody again now. But I do think AEW should not flip-flop it, but I think there should be a few 3-month reigns before we get back to a longer one, which I think will probably be MJF. But for me personally, I think it's going to be Darby Allin, and I think that's the wrong decision. But I think they are building to Darby versus MJF. I know you hate it, you and I don't like it, but I think that's what they're doing. I really do.
Ant can't even handle it. This is great. This is great.
I'm trying to be a nicer person, right? 2026 is coming up, so I'm not going to say anything mean about Darby Allin, okay? We'll let it go. There's no way that the human pincushion is going to beat Samoa Joe. Like, that would be so disrespectful to Samoa Joe, his legacy, his Samoan heritage. I mean, we need 2 Joes to be world champion. Okay, we need to keep Joe in AEW. We need to keep Darby Allin away from him. No,
it's gonna happen because Tony's wanted him to be champion for so long. I think he was always meant to be the guy to beat Mox before Mount Everest.
I will shave my beard off. I will shave my entire face if Darby Allin beats Samoa Joe,
including your eyebrows.
No, don't do that, Ben. That's not nice.
He just said entire face.
We're all adults here. That doesn't count.
Yeah, no.
He meant his facial hair. Don't you do that?
Yeah.
Whoa. Are you trying to get
the
last thing we want is an eyebrowless guy on the show. People are going to start calling like mental health centers and stuff.
The first time I get called Alopecia Anthony, I'm losing it.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
But
that is a step too far, man.
Well, he was the one who said it. But I mean, look, at the end of the day, I think that's what they're doing. I think it is the wrong choice. I mean, to be honest, I think this entire situation's the wrong choice. But it is what it is. Anyway, up next, guys, we've got the final question of the day from @Eddie_Walker_1, who asks, why did Obafemi lose the NXT title just to win it back? Guys, allow me to go full screen for a moment. I think it made absolutely no sense for Obafemi to drop the title to Ricky Saints. I don't really think it helped Ricky at all because the title reign was, as MJF would put it, mid. And I think it's just lessened it to whoever dethrones him this time. What I think they should have done with Obafemi is keep the title on him until Javon is ready, because I don't think Tony D is going to take the title off of him. I really don't. I think they are waiting for Javon. They are going to finish that story that they are telling, and Javon is going to be the one to take it off of Obafemi in like 6 to 9 months. I think this dude is still going to be in NXT for the long run, and I don't really like that. But what I hate even more is the fact they took the title off him. Completely and utterly unnecessary. Didn't help Ricky Saints. Hurt Obafemi. Oba will still be fine, but it's not going to give the guy the rub who it could have in Javon Evans at a later date. So why did they do it? I don't really know, if I'm being completely honest with you. But hey, Aunt, maybe you can help me on this.
Yeah, they gave Obafemi the title back because they knew that pretentious champion over on SmackDown was going to offer up a match against whoever won. So they gave Obafemi his title back just so he can go destroy that poser of a champion, Cody Rhodes, with his silly little neck tattoo and mismatched socks. And yeah, dude. Like, he's going to destroy Cody Rhodes. What do you think about that, Clark?
Well, I think that Cody Rhodes deserves to be destroyed, so there's nothing more exciting in the world to me than the idea of Obafemi, the ruler, having the opportunity to do so. My biggest fear, though, is, of course, that Saturday night's main event could go the other way. And if that happens, I already shaved my face, so it's tough. I don't have a lot to gamble with as far as facial hair is concerned right this second. But
Eyebrows, eyebrows, eyebrows.
No, I'm not getting rid of the eyebrows. Nope. By the way, Donnie has me dying with. I'm not down for Anthony Villanueva. That's a
Right.
NBA reference. Charlie Villanueva, monster
don't get
shout
it.
out. That's the best no eyebrows guy I know. But at the same time,
I hate to break it to you, Clark. I really do. I think Obafemi's taking the loss to Cody. I don't
know.
see that happen.
I'm terrified of it. I am terrified of it. It's worst case because you know what it's going to be. He's going to crossroad him 3 times in a row. They literally put super finishers in the video game for this guy to try to make it look like it's a thing.
It's
It's ridiculous. I will never understand it. You know what I'll do? Okay, dye the eyebrows blonde, Clark. That's hilarious, Fernando.
There we are.
No, I'm not going to do that. What I will do is I'll do the sting paint again. That takes an hour and a half. I'll do the sting paint for a show if Oba loses. It takes an hour and a half, and it takes a day and a half to wash off. So, like, believe me, it's not. It's as good of a payout as there can be. I'll paint up for another show.
I mean, that seems like you're just doing fancy dress for a day, but okay. Look, I'm going to be honest here, guys. I think what they should do, and I'm fully stealing this idea from Gorilla Position, WWE Gorilla Position. I saw it on Twitter earlier today, but I do like the idea. What I think they should do is have Oba win at Saturday night's main event, a big shock, then do the WWE title match at the December pay-per-view or even at the Royal Rumble if you want to drag it to that long, and then have Cody beat him there. That way, it's 1-1, and I know that Obafemi is the NXT Championship, but it is not meant to be as prestigious of a title as the WWE title, obviously. So the NXT Champion losing to the WWE Champion, that's not an issue. But him beating him once before then losing to him will help Obafemi massively, because then you can have Oba hold this NXT Championship for another 6 months, then come up to the main roster after SummerSlam, and bang, people will remember this guy, not as the guy who lost to Cody Rhodes, but as the guy who beat him.
I think they're the only way they can truly do this and do this correctly is you have a great match, you have the spot where the referee and both people are down and the Vision comes out and you get a spear, you get a couple tsunamis, you get a stare down between Bronson Reed and Obafemi. And then Paul calls the guys out of the ring, and Oba takes the pin with the help of the Vision. And then you get people talking about
the Vision.
You have people talking about, is Oba going to join the Vision? You have people talking about, why didn't they attack Oba? Paul Heyman gives them like a wink or something as he leaves. And you have Cody take a pin, but he doesn't look weak for it because he was jumped. You have Oba introduced to everyone in a magical way, beating Cody Rhodes, and you build up what you got from SmackDown with Bronson Reed versus Cody and Cody winning. So I think the Vision should run roughshod on all the champions.
There is a comment here, and I am going to get into them because I can see you looking. I've been waiting to get into at this point because I do think the most likely outcome, it's what everybody's been saying, and I do think this is the case, is that Oba, I mean, Donnie thinks Oba is going to control the match, but regardless, it's going to go right to the end, and right at the end, Drew McIntyre is going to cause a DQ because it's going to protect both of them. We know WWE loves doing DQs. I don't like the idea of doing DQs in a match like this, a champion versus champion match, because it happens every single time. That's why I don't like doing it. If it was a one-off, once every 5 years, somebody, gets heat by interfering in a double championship match, that makes sense, but it happens way too often. In fact, it happens every single time, and I am sick of it. It is lazy, it is repetitive, and I am done with it. And I can see you nodding your head, aren't you?
No, I'm just agreeing with you, man. Like I said, that's why I think if the Vision came out and you had the spot where everybody was down, they take out Cody, you get a face-to-face with Bronson and Oba, and then Paul calls everyone out the ring. And Oba just takes the pin. It's beautiful. It's written beautifully.
I think it has to. I think it has to be Drew McIntyre. He's suspended from SmackDown, not Saturday nights. He's suspended on Friday nights, not Saturday
Yeah, but
nights.
it's so boring. We've seen it time and time again.
It's going to be that, and I think
it will, but it's boring. It's bad.
Best case, though, I don't
lazy.
want it to be a DQ. I want Oba to get the win. But I will say this. DCX Warlord has a right on the bet. I will paint my face like Stardust for a show.
Oh, that's better.
Now we're talking. We're so back.
There we are. WWE Creative should hire DCX Warlord because that's a more creative idea than Drew McIntyre causing a DQ in a champion versus champion match for the what? I swear, look, if there was betting odds on this thing, for whatever there's a champion versus champion match, DQ has to be like just a guarantee.
Yeah, like minus at 500.
Yeah,
here's
it
the
is.
beauty.
And Johnny says the story of the match isn't the result. I will disagree on that because in every single movie, in every single TV show, in every single piece of media, piece of entertainment ever, the ending is the most important part. That is what people will remember, right? They're not going to remember Oba Femi dominating Cody Rhodes as much as they remember Drew McIntyre ruining the result.
What's your opinion on Rocky 1 ending in a draw?
Mm.
Well, that's different. Because that's what you didn't expect that, did you?
I had to.
You didn't expect that ending.
I know.
Right. But no,
it wasn't Rocky 12 when the previous 11 movies had all been draws at the end.
Right.
It's true. There's only the one draw.
Yeah, but that's what I think makes my viewing on this perfect, right? Nick Aldis catches Drew McIntyre, and he's just like, no, we're not going to have this. You know, you're not going to ruin this match tonight. You know, you're out of here. Get out of here. And as he kicks him out, you know, he's like, oh, don't worry. You know, even if I'm not here, we're still here. And then boom. Breaker, Bronson Reed, Logan Paul hit the ring. Take Cody out. It's beautiful.
I just think you're combining too many storylines. That's why I think Drew's too
tight
to it for not to be
think,
Drew. I love the idea if they had set it up, even if it was going to be a surprise, if they'd set it up in a way where Drew's not the obvious interference.
They just
if this was before War Games even,
Yeah.
it would have been better. But now afterwards, we separated the two again already.
But what if Paul owes Drew something for joining the team?
Yeah, no, that is true. That is true indeed. But Donnie says the result is not the most important part. That's never the philosophy ever. And again, I don't. That might not be WWE's philosophy, but I think the vast majority of fans remember the ending of matches more than anything. And it is the creative philosophy. That is the way that in any written form, whether it's a story, whether it's a movie, whether it's a TV show, whether it's a book, they all have the same mentality of the ending is the most important because that is what the last thing that people will see. So it'll be the thing when they close the cover, when they turn off the TV, that will be the thing they remember. Very rarely, and there are odd cases of it happening where there's a moment in something which stands out, which will, stand the test of time. But for the most part, when people consume something, it is the ending which they remember at the end of it. But that does, guys, bring us to the end of today's show. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to all the comments throughout. We really do appreciate you guys being here with us. Thank you, Clark. Thank you, Aunt You. We will see you guys same time, same place tomorrow. Bye.